Welcome to another episode of Dream Career Talk Show. Dream Career Talk Show is a part of my mission to transform 10 million lives by helping people to unlock their full potential and grow fast in their careers. Here on this show, we are going to have industry experts from various domains, from various fields, who can share their knowledge, their challenges, their experiences, their failures and success, so that it can inspire others to help to build their dream careers. It can inspire the professionals to get clarity, direction, hope, inspiration, and of course, the right steps to build their dream career. Today on this talk show, we have someone special. Born in a small village of Madhya Pradesh in a middle class family, Anju Choudhary, who never thought that she could do her own business, today is a budding woman entrepreneur closing high-end interior projects. She made her way to have her brand's name in the nation's leading newspapers like Asian Age, Hindustan Times, and many such publications. From being extremely shy to even shake hands with people, today she has built a great network and working with some of the biggest self development organizations. She has also been associated with BNI for many years. BNI is India's largest and most successful business networking organization. Recently, Anju Choudhary also led a chapter of 90 successful entrepreneurs of a BNI chapter in Gurgaon as president and took the chapter to newer heights. During COVID, she went all out to serve the Karigars, conducting more than 40 online sessions, training more than 1,400 Karigars. And so far, she has trained more than 4,000 Karigars across India. Anju Chaudhary is an interior designer and furniture expert. She is a founder at Wild Oak. She is a passionate networker and a personal growth mentor. Welcome to the Dream Career Talk Show, Anju. It's great to have you in the show.
Thank you so much, Fatha. And I'm equally excited to be here on your show, knowing that this is your passion. Wishing you good luck. And for sure, I would love to create the value that I can for your audience. So let's get started.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Anju. And to get started, Anju, can you take us back a little bit on how did you get started with your career?
Mhm. Well, so definitely, maybe I can, take you through in brief, some of the milestones of my life. Um, and exactly there, I can maybe give you a little more insights about, how I started with my career. So as a kid, I was always one person who went on stage and performed. At that tender age, there was no fear. I used to dance, sing, and play like really good roles in assembly every day. As
Hmm.
a kid, you have that kind of confidence and everything. You want to conquer the whole world, and probably I was also in a similar space. And as far as I remember, like I think in around class 6 during a painting competition, I was actually made fun of by my classmates, and from there I started to lose my confidence and self esteem. And why am I sharing all of this with you? Just to for you to know like how it all started for me. And today, if I look back, how I really conquered all of those things, which has the inroads from my childhood. At that time, I really told to myself that I will never be the front face. I'm okay being a team player, and it helped me also to some extent, but also kept me deprived from taking on big leadership roles in the
Hmm.
organizations and many places, right? Um, good roles were offered to me, but I was always shying away. I made myself very small, despite of being good and very sincere in my work, having served a great set of clientele, like big politicians during my job tenure. If I have to name, maybe Navjot Singh Sidhu, then a lot of film stars, a lot of big industrialists. I never felt confident and like really did not leverage my position for my personal growth. And in my head, why? Because in my head, I was that small town girl, you know, who couldn't speak in English, who felt like a zero in most of the situations in her life. And I really felt being a misfit in the career that I chose, which is a showbiz world, all high-end interiors, high-end projects, the complete swish set of the society coming in, buying. I just every time related my past, of being coming from a humble background. It always came in my way. So, of course, a lot of things happened in my life very fast and totally unpredictable. Just like a weak leaf from tree goes along with the wind wherever it takes, I really had no power to choose my life, choose what I wanted to do. So actually, my father got transferred from Delhi to a remote place in Rajasthan, and fearing, how my education will go in higher classes, I actually dropped out of the school after 10th standard and
Mm.
pursued a diploma for interior designing. And actually, a secret is here. I had gone to choose electronics, getting influenced by somebody, but I ended up choosing interior designing in that era. Like, I did it in 1998. It was not such a popular profession. And it you can say it happened by coincidence or it happened by chance, but I was probably meant to be in that field, and I actually chose that. And yes, I did my 3 years diploma program, and alongside I did also my graduation, the 12th standard by open school. Everything I did to ensure that I kickstart my career and kickstart in a great way. And of course, it started very early for me. I was only 20 years old when I actually started to work. So that's a little insights about my story.
Thank you for sharing that. And you definitely have come a long way from the place where you started in with low confidence, and today wherever you are, the way you have reached, right? And you being an woman entrepreneur, Anju, doing multiple things, because from past 2 years I know you, I have seen you, like you doing interior designing, furniture business, coaching, mentoring, and you attend a lot of workshops, BNI meetings, conferences. How do you manage your time effectively? Like you do a lot of things along with your family as well, right? You have a kid and you have the family to take care. How do you manage all these things effectively?
Well, so here I would just like to share one thing, and when you are sharing this, I actually look back and see it in retrospect. How I used to be, and who I am today. A person, somebody who manages the time well. Well, again, a lot of times I always say it is not about managing the time, but it is managing the self. And how did I do that? And yes, I do have my set of responsibilities. Um, my husband, my son, my family, my own business. And despite of, all those responsibilities, I am actually taking care of my own self, taking care of my health, and ensuring that I learn and pursue my passion, do something that I love doing all the time. So, when you say, how do you do it? I would only say one thing that, I've already given that little brief about my past. A person who made herself very small, somebody who was just going like a leaf, with the wind. I would just say that yes, I created that great partnership with my family members, and I would definitely give a good credit to my husband being there as a rock for me always, and I think that comes under the relationship goals that probably I really really achieved it very well, where we have that understanding where whatever I want to pursue, I can do that. And the same arrangement is done by each family member. It is not just with my partner, but my son understands it so very well that okay, there are things that my mother wants to do, and whatever time I give him, then that is the quality time, right? So it is not something that is just for the sake of giving time. I'm giving time. So that ways I kind of really balance it. And Another important thing is the drive that I have in me to really live my purpose has actually got me to utilize, all the strategies, all the tools that I can to effectively manage myself. Because what is my why of managing time? What do I want to do? What do I want to achieve managing that time? So that is really, really clear to me. And if you really see, from somebody who couldn't shake hands with people to somebody who's now networking, somebody who's going all out, training people, impacting people. All this was not possible if I would not have taken out time for myself to learn and develop myself. Like, if I felt that I was not good in English, I practiced it. If I had a stage fear, if I had a fear to talk to people, I faced that. And for all of that, of course, I invested a lot of time and money in me. So yeah, that's how, the drive, I would just say the drive to be the next level of myself, that keeps me going and expanding my mind to that extent that I actually end up managing myself very well and doing almost everything that I want to do.
Great. And I think people who know you also respect you for this, the way you manage your time and the way you are so disciplined in terms of always following time strictly. Like, how did you cultivate this habit? When did this actually get started for you?
Yeah. So for me, I would just say that I was just like anybody else, how things used, just normally, casually happen. I used to hear the stories of how successful people manage their time. They have their golden hour, 5 a.m. club, etc., etc. But, I never managed to do all of that. And at that time, maybe my mindset was not that developed where I felt the value of practicing all of that. So somewhere I think, when I'll just give you a little backtrack of this particular scenario. um, when I was in my career, when I was in my job, which I worked for like 16 years, so I do have a job experience also, and only from last 5 years, I have my own business, I have my own time freedom, and yes, I'm creating a lot during these. I have created a lot during these 5 years, but before that, I just saw my pattern. What was my pattern? And even though when I was working on a great assignment, I was the most respected person in my organization. I i was getting good salary as per the industry standards. It was a good salary, but somewhere I started to feel that demotivation, that saturation point had come. What next? I was already working with the top-notch designer of the industry, and what was there next for me to achieve? And somewhere, when I saw the lot of dissatisfaction coming in, issues like, I started to face health issues. I was losing hair. I was getting obese, and many health complications that I actually faced through. Emotional outbursts, the guilt, the shame for not being able to spend time with family, and especially with my young kid. At that time, he was small. Like, I actually started work when he was 5 months old, and something started to creep in. What am I doing? What am I doing? Fine, I need to be. I am an ambitious person, but at back home, when you come back, not that anybody told me that things are not fine or whatever. Family supported me rather big time, but still, that self guilt was really, really pulling me down. The life actually became a big misery for me during that period. Even though you're getting money, you are expressing yourself, but somewhere down the line, the life was not working for me. And I think June
Mm.
2015, after a lot of back and forth, it took me a lot of courage to actually take that decision. Should I leave the job? Should I not leave the job? You know, and uh, uh, and then I had that uh, confidence issue, whether or not will I be, able to earn even a 20,000 rupees. But yes, on the contrary, I think that courage came through one of the self development program that I invested in. That was my first step. And after that, that leap of faith, and the universe opened new gates for me.
Okay. And I think somebody has already commented here. Ankit Kumar says, "Great to see you, Anju. It's like Anju Chaudhary version 2.0. I'm sure he must have known you for in the past long few years, at least few years back, right? And good. And you spoke about self development, self investment, and all that, right? We also know that you have been a part of some of the biggest self development organizations. So why do you think it's important to invest in yourself and to see how we can invest in the self development programs and all that?
So I would just say that before, I had not even thought about, firstly, I was not even aware there is something called self development.
Mhm.
It was a total new realm for me, total new world for me. The moment I went ahead, on, of course, persuasion of one of my friend, because I always saw that person, smiling, being very happy, being very contented, and I used to always think that, that what do you do? Like, how do you manage yourself so well? And that curiosity actually led me to at least first attend that what exactly things are about. What is this self development all about? And I can only say one thing, Fatah, here is a lot of people get introduced from time to time. People come, people tell you, you find a lot of stuff on Google, find a mentor, find a training program, etc., etc. But you know what? Knowing makes no difference. And probably it was that situation for me where I had just jumped, I had taken that leap of faith. And I took that courage to go and invest some money and some time in one of the self development program. And that time, even I would say 15,000 rupees was a big deal for investing in a program where you don't even know what you're going to get back at the end. No books, no notebooks, nothing, no training material. What are you going to get back? So I had no idea, but going with that gut feeling that no, I have to take charge of my life. I need to do something for my own self, and if it is not now, then it is never. And that is where I took that decision for myself, and I think that was just the stepping stone. 15,000, and then I think endless programs and n number of investments, 65,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 4 lakhs. I think highest has been, for me, if it's okay for me to share the amounts, my investment of money, about 4.5 lakhs, and in one single program. And I would just say that, now after learning and implementing and actually looking at what I have created and out of my life and the potential that I have actually tapped into, which was going all waste and unexplored, all of this worth, all of this money, and moreover, the time invested has been totally, totally worth it. And that's about me. And for others, I would just say that every time you get an opportunity, where you know that you can't do things on your own, and if you knew already, you would have done by now. So it is so important to find good training programs that suit yourself, and then also the right mentor. And I'm so blessed that I have found the right set of people, the right set of mentors in my life, and I'm gonna go ahead with them for the whole life. Yeah.
Okay. And do you mind me asking, like, how much have you invested in your self development till date,
Wow. So,
roughly?
yeah, roughly maybe. So, yeah, this is my, I would say, favorite thing to answer, because haven't really, really added up with the kind of my time involvement that goes in, but yeah, close to, I think, easily between 16 lakhs to 20 lakhs maybe. That of course includes
Wow.
the logistics, and I haven't like really included my time in it. But one thing I can say, Fatah, is I have recovered much more than that. And when I say recovered, it is from the point of, that you invested and you got that ROI. And ROI is something that is unmeasurable for me. Money is one thing. I of course got all the money back, but more than that, the confidence and the fulfillment that I got, I think that is totally unmeasurable for me.
Yeah, 16 lakhs is a big number, Anju. And do you think it was worth? And what did you get out of it? Did you get any certifications or did you acquire any skills? What was it?
Of course, skills, the life
Okay.
skills, I should say that.
Hmm.
Certificate, I don't even know, if, well, there were hardly, any programs. Some of them, of course, had the participation certificates as well. But I would just say that, you really, really don't need to display that. If you get the confidence, the being, the shift in your being, I don't think you really, really should bother about the certificate that get. Of course, I do have some certificates hanging in back of my wall, but yeah, those are some of the appreciation certificate from my networking circle. Yeah.
And you said you did mention that you have got the return on investment. You have been able to see how you have not only recovered but you have actually grown yourself, right? I think, see, the same amount. Do you think if you would have invested in an MBA would have helped you?
Wow. So, Fada, I can only say one thing, part of me, I used to make myself very small, how, because a part of me was always there saying that, Anju, you have not even completed your schooling. You are a 10th
Hmm.
pass, so
What did
for
you
all,
say? You are what?
you are a 10th pass.
And how much were you earning when you were in job? Like how long it's been when you left your job, Anju? Okay, can we get
Yeah,
back a little back in your career?
little back, yes, I started my first job.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was in 2000, year
Mm-hmm.
2000, and my salary was 4,000 rupees.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was my first salary. And
And when you left your job, like when did you leave your job?
I
You
left my
started
job in
entrepreneurship.
2015. So good 15
And
years.
do you mind me asking, like, what was your salary at that time?
Yeah, when I left, it was actually, I would say, there was some inclusion of commissions as well in part
Mm-hmm.
of my salary. But yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
can say approximately about 2.5 lakh is something that I used to draw with
Wow.
thing allowed. So a
Wow.
long journey, long span, I
Yeah.
will say.
2015, when you were in job. The reason I asked you this question, Anju, is I see a lot of corporate professionals who are dependent on the trainings that are given to them in the companies, right? Or the other thing that they only see is they see at certifications, right? A lot of people, they just run behind certifications, they run behind MBS. I was one of those who ran behind certifications. You talk about certifications, I could like get you bunch of certifications. That's what I had. But skills wise, I was lacking, to be very honest there, right? And today when I see a lot of corporate professionals running behind certifications, displaying those certifications on LinkedIn, I just ask myself, wasn't this me? Right? What are they getting by doing these certifications? And a lot of them who have done MBAs still come on the calls and they talk to me that they are still looking for growth in their careers. They are stuck in their careers, right? Which clearly says certifications and degrees are only on paper, right? But if people cannot invest here, like the way you invested in yourself, on your self development, right, it has helped you to grow fast, right? And today you are already an entrepreneur. Did you ever imagine that you could become an entrepreneur?
Well, not at the time, when I was probably um, somewhere I was in the middle of my career, the job career. I
Hmm.
was, as I told you, I was a very honest and a sincere employee, and I did work very well. I made my mark wherever I worked, and a lot of my bosses are also in touch with me today, and they love and they are proud, and they keep texting also sometimes, of, how proud of me they are. And that gives me a
Same.
great, great, great pleasure. Yeah. So
Yeah. And I believe you are also recognized and you were published in some of the top newspapers,
that's true.
right?
That's true. So I would just say that I think I was only coming in my own way until 2015, when I was in a mind where I don't think I can do business. I don't think I can do marketing for myself. I was being an interior designer. I was very good with maybe my skill set pertaining to interior designing, and like the sketching, the drawings, the detailings, conceptualizing, all that is part of any interior designer's role. I was good with that. However, I never considered also myself, being good there, because the mindset was such. I was always in self bashing mode, always undermined myself, always thought I'm an average designer. And probably that, these thoughts actually stopped me from taking, the steps, the advanced steps that I could have. And only, when I went in that space of misery, that was the time I thought, no, enough now. I'm losing my health. I've got two operations done, this, that, and not satisfied, coming back home crying that, oh my God, I don't have time. So no time to spend with family, always working, carrying my laptop to, in fact, I had gone to a Europe trip. It was a road trip. We traveled about 6,500 kilometers by road. And you know what, I was carrying my laptop with me. And it's so interesting that my laptop actually got stolen in Rome.
Oh.
uh,
Mhm.
the laptop, the hard disk, the camera. The hard disk had actually about 14 years or 13 years of data. And,
Mhm.
and that got me, that gave me a good lesson. Like my whole family was a little disappointed and depressed, that, okay, this thing shouldn't have happened, else we were in a great space having good fun, we were enjoying. But you know what, like how I took, I think, and by that time I had actually started my own business also, and my self development programs also. So I was able to actually come back quickly on the fact that it's fine, it's gone.
Right.
That now I'm not carrying it. I can be totally free. I don't have to work. So yeah, I used to be like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The one thing that you spoke about, Anju, where you did mention that you did your 10th standard and after that you did your diploma, and in your job you are having low confidence. Am I worth it? Can I make it? Right. I believe this is the challenge in all the industries. Right. I
Mhm.
coming from IT industry, I've seen people who come from diploma backgrounds, who come from who do not come from like engineering backgrounds, or they would have done some graduation or engineering but wouldn't have done any MBAs. They always have this in their back of the head is, how do I grow? And the only thing that comes to their mind most of the times is MBA, because everybody is taking that path. They think if I have to become a great leader, I have to do an MBA. I have to do maybe certifications, right? And nothing else comes to them, right? And as you mentioned, you working on your skills rather than always looking at what can I actually get as certifications, right? You focused on your skills, and that has helped you to come a long way. So great to know that. And coming back to like effectively managing your time, right? Why do you think, first of all, people should manage their time effectively?
Yeah, and thank you for asking that question, because yes, this is a very, very, very important aspect in today's world, today's time, when everybody is busy.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's like, if you're not busy, you kind of get stressed out. Am I doing good enough that I'm not looking busy? So that's actually a fad as well. And just before I answer that, I would just like to give a little thing about one of the last questions that you said about the degrees. And if you don't mind me going back just a bit, nobody actually saw my certificate of diploma, or where I did it from, what I did, my portfolio, my drawing sheets. Nobody actually saw that in my interview. So it, I mean, for me, it was, I don't know where exactly even, I mean, I must have actually stored it because it was not required. And people actually took me in various jobs, various roles, basis my skills. At that time, of course, the skill of interior designer was most important for me, and that I used to fit in very well. So certificate is a myth, and time again, this is actually something, it may be a very big statement to say or contradictory, but I think if you really study a lot of people, you will find them in the same space, whether or not have they done that particular thing just for the certification sake, or have they really developed themselves and really worked into that. So I would just always say that it's always good if you have a certification, nothing like it. It's a good backup just in case you'd want to present it. But it's majorly the skills, the life skills that you have, or the skill set for that particular job. So that's one
Yeah.
part. And now I can come and talk about the time part, right? So first thing, that why do you have to manage time? It's become like, okay, I don't have time for self development, I don't have time for my health, I don't have time for this, my family, even in office, you just keep saying one sentence all the time. And of course, I'm a big believer of, what you are saying, what you are thinking, it actually reflects in your actions as well. So
Hmm.
I would just say that yes, whatever you're affirming, it becomes true. So rather than saying, I don't have time, I don't have time, how can I create more time? Even if you pick up the later statement, your mind will actually starts to work on that. And I realize, and I have been observing myself in that space. I was not like this, Fatah, before. I was just like that. I told you, like, I think, I don't know if I really answered that fully or not, but I was that one person who would always look up to the leaders, that how do they do it. I was curious, but I never practiced it because I had no access. And today I would say I have the access, I have practiced, and I have mastered certain things. Yes, I'm yet to master a lot more stuff with which, world leaders do. I would definitely want to be in that space very soon. Here, the question that I said, why do you want to manage time? So when you talk about time, it has a direct correlation between being organized first. Okay, this is like the key, the base thing. Time will get managed, you will manage yourself, but it is about how organized you are. And it's a direct correlation. If you're organized, you can manage your time very well. And let's understand why bother getting organized first. I have wasted a lot of time finding my keys, finding my documents, my purse, and women have a different set of story, when it comes to being organized. I would say I learn a lot from my husband here. He's a very organized person, everything is up to date. I would just say here, like for you and for maybe your audience here, whether they are in job, in a small company or a big company, idea of getting organized is to achieve a greater goal. You don't just get organized for being for the sake of it. Basically, you just don't do it for making things look good or appear good to other people. Organizing systems are really actually the vehicle to get to your bigger goals. So that is the why. You have to always see that, why should I organize myself? And that is where, I would say, these skills, these tools of, managing, your things to do, your plans, your monthly planners, your daily planners come into the place. Because if we are not having this inside out approach, all the tools will fail. And it happened with me.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just have to say that firstly, you have to see whether or not are you organized. And if if you're more organized, you would see that your schedule is more organized, your space is more organized, you can free up time to be present with your friends, your family, your wife, with your own self, the me time.
Right.
Most of the people actually miss out on that me time, and I think that is the first thing that goes in my calendar, the me time. I just
Mhm.
would not compromise on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so being organized is the first thing. And yes, there are some strategies. If you would want, I can surely talk about that as well.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk about the strategies as well. But I think one important point that you highlighted here that I want to remind to the viewers is you said organizing things is not for others, right? You don't want to when you try to show it to others that you are organized, it does not help you at all, right?
Yeah,
Organizing, it needs to start with why should I do it, and it's all about inside out. First you are developing yourself, and it's for the bigger good, right? It's for the bigger goals that you want to achieve. And organizing yourself is for you to get to that better place, and you to get whatever you want in your life, and not to show to others. I think that's a very important point you highlighted. Thanks, Anju. And now coming to the strategies, like um, definitely I would like to hear some of the strategies, because here one of the biggest challenge what we have seen, Anju, especially when I talk to a lot of corporate professionals, is today, because most of them are working from home. It's been almost 2 years people are working from home, and they say there is no line drawn between the job or the work and the home, right? Office has become like home, home has become office. So people say that we are made to work 10 hours, so almost 10 to 12 hours I'm at work. So after that, what do I organize? And they are like just following and then being in that flow, right? And then they realize that they have not really done anything for themselves, right, apart from just being in the job. So if you could help to talk about this, how people can, especially during this time, how people can build some strategies and then start managing time effectively, I think it will be great.
great. Thank you so much, Fatah. So, yes, this is something that I would say some of us already know about it, but again, practicing, practicing to master it. Um, Personally, from my experience, I would only say that first thing is to get the focus right. Because if you really see that, why, ask yourself those questions, that why is your, what is it that you're doing that you're not able to manage your time first. Where are you spending most of your time? So first thing comes from the discovery part. So you really need to discover before even going to the strategies, that how to do it. Because again, if you have to apply the strategy inside out and not the other way around, you need to sit with you and actually discover that what tasks are there every day that I'm spending more time on. And what is it like, there is there are various kind of formulas, if you really hear as a concept, so as a concept. And actually it has worked for people who have really really implemented them with the most diligent way. And it's like delegation, diminishing, delaying. So if you really see what is it that you can actually delete from your list. Firstly, observe, and then you see what all can get deleted out of this. Is there something that is just coming in between and wasting your time unnecessary? So I'm sure every individual whosoever is listening here, whether you are at a manager level or at a director level or have just started the career, I think it's one habit that you could start developing at an early stage, and that is jotting down everything that you have, discovering, and finding out of this what are the things that you can effectively do yourself, delegate it to others, that your time may not be required for that, and delaying certain things. Let's say if you have to give some reports, like let's say you have to prepare some reports, but that for that the timelines are quarterly reports. And right now that you are working on some assignment for that that is required before, so your priorities well. You don't just get onto the report building at that time just because your boss has given it to you at that moment, and you just get started with it. If you're opening many files on your computer, it is bound to happen that your computer will slow down, right? And
Right.
I think
Yeah.
I'm talking this in the IT language.
Right.
Yeah. So if you think, you're multitasking by doing part of report, part of this, part of that, it doesn't happen that way. So solve one problem at a time. Now, this is another key that I can definitely emphasize on, and always take the most difficult thing first, because
Mm.
and this has happened with me when I do my design projects. It will be like, okay, let me do this easy work first. Okay, this will get done fast. This will get cut off my to-do list faster, and it gives me a kick. Wow, something got accomplished. But that's not how it should be done. It should be done the other way around, because when you're fresh in energy, the most complicated part that you try to solve or you try to work on, which takes up your energy and your creativity, if you complete that first, then rest ones are easier to do. And the mind also gives you a kick in a form that, okay, I've accomplished something which was very difficult and something which required a deeper thinking, right? So that is second thing. And third thing is, um, don't don't start your day with email. And that would be something very funny. You might just say, oh my god, what are you saying? Because our work is that. How can you say that? Your work is that, but your life
Yes.
is not that,
But
right?
especially in the IT industry, Anju, people have like they start their day with an email. Early
Yeah.
morning, they wake up, they start their day with the email. I have to tell this. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much for validating that, because I'm pretty sure that this is the trend. And to I would say, to the deeper insights of this particular thing, I can only share there was a study done by University of British Columbia sometime. And they conduct this study for about 5 years. And what they found was, there is there is a great quest of having, like, a, I would say, a great scope, of doing great analysis there, that how, when a person starts his day with the email, gets actually buried into so many things, unwanted things, that he never actually thought that he would be doing that very moment. So
Mhm.
it's called, the technique is actually called batch processing. And what we normally do is continuously processing. So batch processing is something that, you give yourself a certain window of time, that, okay, this is the time, from this time to this time, whether it is 40 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour, whatever that it works for you. You schedule that, and you only give emails, or you check your emails in that part, that batch only. And you will see, you will actually be much more efficient, because you have a limited time there, and you're not endlessly scrolling. Because you see, when you are in watching your inbox, there are lot of things there. There'll be social media stuff coming in there will be unnecessary mails, there'll be spams, so many things, and you really get pulled into that. And you can't come out before you realize that, oh my god, I had to actually reply to that person. And you wasted like maybe a couple of hours already. I hope you can validate that.
Yeah, yeah, makes a lot of sense, right?
So now it's scientifically proven fact that if you do that as a batch processing, even during the day, if your work is such that you have to check your emails, but don't just start the day with the email. It is so important to maybe create a ritual. In fact, Fatah, it's been 3 years. I get no notification on my phone. I get no notification. So I learned this, how to really focus. And I don't get notifications of my WhatsApp, my Facebook, any of the social media. But I always do it in batch. When I am there on Facebook or in my messages or my emails, I am there and I'm just working there. Else, right now I'm with you, I'm just not distracted. I'm with my family watching some movie, then I'm just not bothered. In fact, I keep my phone in the next room and then I go to sleep. I don't even want to be near the phone, when it is my time, resting time. And when I get up, I don't immediately open the phone. People actually keep the phone next to their bedsides. And every time there's a ting, 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 and it takes you to the different world. And I avoid that. I only check my phone when I want to do it. I don't want to get utilized by the technology. I want to utilize the technology. And I've been practicing, and I think I am proud of myself of been successful to some extent of not wasting my time, getting trapped into this world of technology, email, social media, or anything. It's all important part of my life, my business, but I'm investing my time very wisely there. That's
Yeah.
something I want to share.
I think I'm sure like so many people who are watching live and who will be watching later who know you now get to know your secrets, how you are able to manage that time effectively. And I think one very powerful sentence you said there is, I don't want to be utilized by technology. I want to utilize technology. Now most of them are getting utilized by technology, right? The notifications part which you mentioned about. We all want to use notifications but we don't know how, right? And we want to use the mobile phone, as you said. Most of us keep the mobile phones next to us all the time, getting distracted, right? And early morning starting with those emails. I think even when we had the habits coach, right, the success habit coach Dharmendra, he also mentioned this, that do not keep the mobile next to you and do not start your day with those emails, right?
Wow.
Start with your day by giving that me time, right? And this is the same thing that you also mentioned, right? And I think most of the successful people also have this success habit where they give a lot of me time, starting with maybe gratitude, prayers, right, exercise. So focusing on themselves rather than getting pulled away by all the different emails. I For quite some time I did this in my career as well. Right, I used to start my day by seeing that email, and sometimes when there is a bad email from a client or from maybe my boss or from some of the team member, I'm like my day would go different. I would get pulled into that, right? Rather than I planning something really in an efficient way, I would get pulled there, start with that, and I don't know how I ended my day. And so that's a very important point you spoke. And you also mentioned about deleting. I want to talk to this again to the audience who are watching here. Deleting, as you important point you mentioned is, we all can delete a lot of stuff, right? We have like when we make that list, only when we are able to make that, create that list of what are the tasks we have, we all have something or the other that we can delete, right? And if we can start deleting that, then we can only focus on the priority stuff, right? That really helps. And the other thing you mentioned about delegation. Delegation is again one another very critical skill which most of the team leads, managers, leaders are being today taught. Because if you can delegate, then you can give a lot of tasks which are like, which where you don't really need to be there, right? But a lot of people get pulled into those tasks, especially the managers, the leaders. They do everything and then they are not able to actually focus on the priority things, right? So I think more very 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 valid and very important point shared here, Anju. Thank you for all that about the time management strategies.
Yeah, in fact, there are so many Fatah. I mean, and it really depends on how the person is, whether or not, are they visual kind of person. So, they would prefer more to do notes in their diary, and then there are people, who love to use the technology as in, few apps, few things, for them, they want to travel light, everything is on the cloud, their reminders, their alarm systems. So you need to identify yourself as the person first, what works the best for you. there was a time when I used to see one of my friend who's an impact communication coach, and I used to see her calendar, and I used to really, really get fascinated. Wow, what are those colorful things? How nicely you've done it. And I didn't even know how to use the Google Calendar. There
Mhm.
was a time like that, because at that time also I was I'm still not a very techie person, I would say. I'm still a very a diary person. Like, I would always have my gratitude journal with me. So
Wow.
every night I would always write in this. I would have a brainstorming journal with me, so that will only for my ideas and my designs, and what I need to execute. So I have like it's part of my passion also, collecting a lot of diaries and stationery, and but utilizing it also, not just collecting it and not utilizing it. So I actually do, like, for my affirmation there is another notebook. So I'm more of a person, who writes stuff, because my mind works like that. I would just know at back of my mind, okay, three I where did I write that, while having a call, 3 pages down, in green color, black color, red color, so I would remember like that. So it really depends. Some people, the technology really works, go for that. And for some people who want to utilize the notebook, etc., they should do that. But it is very, very, very important to really be present and do it. Another secret that I want to just quickly give is, within 5 seconds of you knowing something, or you giving a promise, or making a commitment. Let's say you say, okay, Anju, when do we meet? And you say tomorrow at 8. Okay, so while you are talking to me, within that moment itself, within 5 seconds, I would actually enter that into my calendar. I would
Wow.
not go beyond that, because then the moment 5 seconds are over, the mind gets into other things and you will forget. And that's another secret that I actually use, that I would always put it down in my calendar, that okay, this is something that I'm committing, the meeting especially. And that's why I can be even relaxed when my phone is not around me. I know that okay, fine, if it is scheduled, it will get done. If it is just not scheduled, okay, let's meet up, milte hain kabhi, so wo milte hain kabhi hi rahega. It will never get done, because it does not have the time duration or a date fixed to it. So that is something, if you do, you can cause more things. I do it like this.
Yeah, I think a very important tip here, right? Where making a note within that 5 seconds and putting that in the calendar, and making sure. And you are also known for your time discipline. You are always on time in any program or whatever you do, right? And when you were talking about journaling, when you were talking about affirmations, when you were talking about gratitude, I could relate this. And do you think this is what helped you from being that shy person to becoming that woman entrepreneur who is there in different networks in the biggest organizations, like leading BNI, which is one of the India's top networking organization, doing all this? And you also went through a difficult situation a couple of months back. You went through COVID, right, where you were completely down, struggling for hospitals, struggling to breathe. You took, I think, about a month to come out. So, did these things help you as well during the tough times like COVID, or also in your personal and professional life?
Yeah, so definitely the journaling is something that I really found very, very helpful. You know, journaling is a form of self talk. So you are
Mhm.
talking to yourself. There is so much in your mind, as, let me call it, like, sometimes even a lot of clutter. Even if you have some very nice ideas, $1 million ideas, but they are inside somewhere in a lot of clutter, a lot of things that are happening around you, your environment, and firefighting. There's so much happening all the time, right? Urgencies that you have not planned for. Managing, again, it's not as smooth as it looks to be, but yes, there are urgencies, there are things. So I would just say that when I sit with my journal, I actually find that peace, because I have emptied my cup fully. I have
Mhm.
taken out all my mental clutter, and it really helped me come out with even new ideas. When I put it on the paper, when I put it on the paper, I can actually the next day see, look, okay, what is out of this? Can I delete? Okay, this was trash. This was trash. Okay, this is gold. Let me pick that up. Can I build
Mm.
something around it? Okay. So then I'll put that into again my another another diary is there where my ideation happens. So in that
Wow.
ideation, what would happen is I will put it, okay, for the next 6 months. In 6 months time maybe I can look at it, and maybe I'll also set an alarm for that, that okay, within maybe after 2 months I can actually open this up and see what am I doing about this particular idea that I thought of. So so that's how the journaling helps me. And gratitude, yes, it has been the most helpful thing during COVID period as well, when I was grateful, and I couldn't speak and give my gratitude to a lot of people. I was away from technology, uh, messaging, etc. So I used to just gather strength. I used to start writing, to of sometimes even my prayers, sometimes thanking my body. I used to thank my body a lot. Thank you for bearing, thank you for supporting. And sometimes I did not get those right injections in time, right medicines in time, and despite of that my body actually supported me and it fought back. There was a lot of mental strength that was going in, and meditation, etc. So I think everything, I was journaling at that time. I i was thanking for the food on my plate, because there were time, when my whole family was down with COVID, and my cook was not there. Obviously we never wanted her to get infected, and who will cook? So actually my neighbors, who stepped in, and who gave us food for 2 to 3 days, and then of course after that, we made some arrangement. But I would just say that all of the things that I was grateful for during that period, I jotted down everything, and that gave me so much of power, so much of strength. Even making sketch, like there's a friend of mine, she used to send me pictures of her cat to liven me up. So I actually one
Mhm.
day, my hands were shaking, but I made a sketch and actually wrote thank you so much, Subhash and family. So it was really
Wow.
great exercise
Wow.
for me, I would
Wow.
say.
That's awesome. Like gratitude, affirmations. You spoke about journaling and you also spoke about the ideation book, right? Which is also a great idea for people who can remove that clutter and put it in the ideation book.
Yeah.
And one other thing that makes you very powerful that I have seen, Anju, is you have a great network. You have a very strong network, and you have been associated with one of the biggest and the topmost networking organizations called BNI, right? And you are also a part of it. Plus, you also led BNI Gurgaon chapter last year, right, as a
Yes.
president.
Yeah.
So, when did you start getting into this networking, and how networking has helped you in your career, in your personal life?
So, Fatha, probably I would just say things really happened very nicely for me, at the right time. When I say right time, universe also gives it back to you when universe sees that this person is really really trying, and somebody who's in action, somebody who is taking massive action to do something. Before 2016, I had no idea what BNI is all about. Maybe I had vaguely heard about it, but fine, I had not attended because I was in the job. And when you are in the job, I don't know if you will ask me that question, but for sure, the networking is something that you don't even think about it,
Right.
because you are very busy. You are in your own ocean of things, difficulties, challenges. That why would you go out and look at other things or other professions? But probably I would say again, a lot of good people in my life, and I was somebody who took action. It was a working day. It was my son's school that day. I would remember. Normally, any other parent would actually get stopped at the point कि मेरे बच्चे का स्कूल है, मैं कैसे सुबह 7 बजे उठ करके किसी नेटवर्किंग मीटिंग में जा सकती हूँ. And that question actually holds back a lot of women also, sometimes, of going that extra mile. And I went ahead. Of course, I made a structure that at least for Thursdays, my husband is going to drop my son, to the bus stand, so that he can go to the school. Whatever arrangements I made, and I took that action. I went ahead, experienced one of the BNI meetings, and wow, my mind actually got expanded. My context got expanded. I was like, wow, there is something like this as well available where actually people are practicing, giving to each other, helping each other. What is there something like that? And of course, I had just barely started because this was that transition time. I had not even opened my office, or probably even my company was also not registered. This was that transition period. And I would say this step I took after doing little part of my self development program, where I got the courage that I need to work on my new possibilities. I can't just be sitting and doing the same actions to get the same results. I can't crib, that I did not get results because I did not take new action. So this was part of my new action to get into a new realm, and I think that opened the world of opportunities for me. When I went for the first time, I was not confident. However, I was welcomed very warmly because the structure is such that they love visitors, they love their energy, they love to, help them as well, and also receive business if at all, there is any. And I was standing in one corner. I was eating alone. I was not networking. I was shy. I still remember that day. From that day to the day, like till last year or today, when I'm actually giving keynote speeches in BNI or leading a chapter as a president within 3 years. So you can very well imagine the kind of growth that this platform brought for me.
Yeah.
Networking, rubbing shoulders with great business entrepreneurs. They are at different levels of their business. Some are financially as well as in terms of number of years experience, and I had barely started. I had no office. After that, I got so inspired, Fatah, that I actually made my office. I rented out a space, and I made a nice studio, very quirky studio for myself, where I thought now I can become a BNI member and I would want to get into that network and a great
Mm.
chapter of some influential people,
Great,
yeah.
great. And how much percentage do you think, like 10, 20, 30, how much percentage has networking contributed to your career success?
Wow, never actually, never. I don't really analyze in numbers, but I really give a big credit to it for my personal growth per se.
Mhm.
Um, uh, Maybe you can take about 50%, if not less.
Right.
For sure, 50% I can say, because today who I am is because I was exposed and I was sitting in an environment of very powerful and like-minded people who were hungry to do something in their lives. And I think, yeah, it rubbed onto me as well. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Anju, for bringing this point. And I also strongly believe in the networking, right? Initially, I struggled a lot of years in my careers. And I see still a lot of corporate professionals struggle in their careers because they don't open up. They just work in their shell. They think they are the experts. It's okay to be those experts, right? But if you can't go out and network with people, not only within your teams or organizations, outside the organizations as well, you are not expanding your boundaries, and that is where your growth stops. And rightly, as you mentioned, being with those like-minded people, you will also grow and expand in your career. So people also need to choose the right environments, because environment is more powerful than your willpower. That's the most important thing people have to know. So thank you, Anju, for being on this show. I think we did cover a lot of topics around networking, which you are very strong at, and time management and all that. So thank you for being here. Before you leave, do you have any s- last advice on this particular show just before we leave for the audience? Anything from your side?
Well, yes, so definitely, as your theme says, so I'll say in two lines maybe. So you are establishing a mission called Dream Career, And as for me, I would say a dream career is actually, doing something that you love to do, and
Mm.
something that gives you fulfillment. So I would like to leave your audience and the people who are listening to us today with one of my dialogue, and also I would say it includes some part of my book's title, and that is, you can design your life. And how do you do that? By taking charge of how you live, break your own self limiting beliefs, and actually unblocking your mind to live your dreams, to live your dream career. So, that is something that I'd like to give as a final note from my side.
Thank you, thank you. And do you want to talk about the title of your book as well? You spoke about the theme. What is the title of your book? Can you?
So, the title is actually, You Can Design Your Life,
Wow.
Unlock Your Mind, and Live Your Dreams. This is definitely going to get launched in 2021. It's an upcoming feature.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Anju, and all the best for your book. And thank you for being here and adding a lot of value to people. I'm sure people have learned a lot, and a lot of them also watching us later in the recordings on YouTube, on different social medias, would definitely feel a lot of value from here. So, gratitude to you for being here. And thank you, all the viewers, for being here. And we will continue this journey of dream career, bringing people from different backgrounds, helping you to build your dream careers. So thank you, Anju. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Fatah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.